Welcome back, guys. On to part two. We're going to talk a little basketball here. Oklahoma City evens it up with Dallas at 2-1. So, what's your thoughts on the series?
Yeah, James Harden from nowhere. He's having a huge series. Russell Westbrook's having a huge series. But James Harden, 21 points in that last game. I think that was huge. The bench was huge there with Eric Maynard, too. Eric Maynard's coming from nowhere. And it seems like just a couple of years ago, all these players were in the NCAA tournament with Kevin Durant, Maynard, Harden. Go down when they had Jeff Green, he was right there. But it seems like all these players are really young, so this team's going to be real good for some time. And it seems like back both in hockey and basketball, all these teams are all very young. They're all going to be good for a while. So, but especially the Thunder, they're the youngest team ever to make it into the conference finals, and I really like what they're doing. I picked the Thunder in at 5 or 6, I think. 6.
You said Thunder. You said Thunder in 6 or 7 or something.
I think I said 6.
I picked Dallas in like 6, I think.
Anyways, I'm sticking with Thunder in 6. I think Kevin Durant's carrying them more so than he did in the last series. Russell Westbrook's taking the back seat like he should be. Kevin Durant is the star on that team. Yeah. Scott Brooks is a great coach, very underrated. Nobody really hears his name. Nobody talks about him. But the way he's stopping Dirk Nowitzki for this last couple of games has been huge. Dirk Nowitzki has been absolutely unreal. This has been his best series ever. This has been his best playoffs he's ever played. And to do it when he's 34 or 35, that says something. Yeah. Dallas is still very loaded. J.J. Barea is a huge impact player. Jason Terry's huge. But I still like Oklahoma City. I think they're a little bit more deep. And I think they're coached a little bit more well, too.
You gotta give credit to Rick Carlisle. I mean, he was this coach he used to have some fame. And now he's he kind of fell a little bit, and now he's come back in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. He's obviously got Dirk, who's a beast. He's got over 30-something free throws in a row. I don't know if that was broken. Last time I remember watching the game, it was 33 in a row.
Yeah, I know he's 14 for 14 last game.
Yeah. I feel like the Mavs are an older version of the Thunder in a way. Yeah. Kind of. But I mean, I feel like they got more starting weapons. You know what I mean?
I think they're a little bit more deeper in starting rotation, like you're saying, with Stojakovic, Barea, Kidd.
Well, I mean, that's like a side. Though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say you got Maynard, Harden. I mean, Harden had a hell of a game. He had 23 points, and then Maynard is stepping up. But I mean, I still think it's going to be too much.
On paper, if you take Durant and Westbrook and pair them up with Dirk or any other player on the team, I think Thunder has the advantage. With those two, I think those two are the best two in the game.
We're talking series, though, dude.
Yeah. But yeah. I think Dallas. The reason why they're there is because of the depth, and I think J.J. Barea is a big part of that. Jason Terry is a huge part of that. And yeah, they're small guys like Barea, Kidd, and Terry. I think that's the huge advantage for them. But also you got guys like Tyson Chandler who are tough. And Kevin Perkins has made a statement that he hates Tyson Chandler. And I don't think there's a better statement that Tyson Chandler would rather hear than have Kevin Perkins say that. Kevin Perkins gets under the skin of people, and Kevin Perkins isn't doing a lot this series. So Tyson Chandler likes that. I think Rick Carlisle likes that, but I still like Thunder because of Durant and Westbrook, primarily.
I still like the Mavs because you got Dirk, and then you got all the supporting casts to help you out like that. And I don't think the Thunder have, like you said, as much depth.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think is the best player in Oklahoma City, Westbrook or Durant?
I'll go Durant. It should be Durant. Last series it was Westbrook, and there was big media coverage of why Westbrook has more shots. Westbrook's a great player. I think Westbrook and Durant are the best 1-2 after James and Wade. I think if you look in the whole entire league, I think you still got to give the notch for Wade and James. But I think the best chemistry for two players is Westbrook and Durant. But I still say Durant's the best player.
I'll agree. I kind of think the chemistry's obviously gotten better this series. Last series it seemed like Westbrook tried
he was trying to make it his
too
team.
much of the hero.
Yeah.
Those end of the game shots, they were ridiculous. I was watching something where Charles Barkley was criticizing on 13 of his shots.
Yeah.
It looked like 11 out of 13 of those shots, he even said himself, they looked awful. He was throwing them up out of nowhere with 3 guys in his face under the hoop. I mean, you're going to kick it back out to the shooter, who is Durant.
Yeah.
Or, Maynard or whoever else is out there.
Yeah. The thing is...
Yeah, it's you're trying to do a lot. I mean, you're not going to be the first star on that team.
Yeah. The thing
you have to take a back seat, and you got to show that you're willing to do that. And if not, then you're going to have awful team chemistry, and you probably will lose the series.
Yeah. On the Grizzlies, the person who was covering Westbrook was Mike Conley, and I think they have a big advantage now with Kidd and Barea and Terry covering.
I think Kidd's an underrated defender.
No, yeah, he's a very good defender. Those three on Westbrook is much harder for Westbrook to go against than Conley. And if you look at the Grizzlies, the guys who was covering Durant was Shane Battier and Tony Allen, two of the best defenders in the game. So I think that's the reason why Westbrook was taking a lot of shots. Now, who's covering Kevin Durant is Peja Stojakovic. That's a huge mismatch. So the mismatches for the Grizzlies, for the Thunder last series against the Grizzlies, they had the Westbrook mismatch. Now I think they have the Durant mismatch. So I think Scott Brooks is doing the right thing.
The thing about Page is he's definitely way more offensive than he is defensive. Even on the Sacramento Kings, they were always that offensive team.
Yeah.
Never really showed that they could play defense, which is why they would always lose to a team like the Lakers in the conference finals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, definitely disadvantage. This is where you definitely want to go to Durant.
Yeah.
You want to go to Durant.
So
but you
you're
also
saying,
want Westbrook, too.
So you're saying Durant's the better player?
Oh, yes, by far. Not by, like, far, but far enough.
Yeah.
All right, now moving on to the Bulls and Heat, of course. The Bulls took game 1, and then the Heat took game 2.
Yeah.
So, thoughts?
Did you see Taj Gibson's dunk?
That was
awesome. What a display of athleticism that was.
Hate to interrupt you, just want to say the Sharks won 4-3.
All right, cool. That's huge. But yeah, Taj Gibson. That team is very deep. That was a huge game 1 because the Heat had tons of momentum going into that series, coming off a momentum high against the Celtics to go against the Bulls, and Bulls didn't have a great series against the Hawks, but for the game 1, Taj Gibson was huge in that series. Derrick Rose shows why he was the MVP of the league, and the Bulls' depth was huge in that game 1. Miami took game 2, and I thought they were going to take game 2, but I still like the Bulls in 6 because of Bulls' depth. And I think if anybody can stop, like I've said this last 3 episodes, if anybody can stop Wade and James, I think that was evident in game 1, it's Tom Thibodeau. And Tom Thibodeau has tons of defensive schemes for them too. And that's why I like the Bulls in the series. I like the Bulls in game 6. I think Derrick Rose is displaying a lot of
I wouldn't be
MVP
giving the
class.
Bulls too much credit yet, Mitch. You know what I love now? The weakness of the Miami Heat. Interior defense. Mm-hmm. How about that defensive display in that fourth quarter last game?
Yeah, they were so...
That was unbelievable. Some of the best defense I've ever watched in basketball was the fourth quarter of that game.
Yeah.
I mean, especially Wade. Wade is a great defender.
Wade's a very good defender.
It felt like everyone just came together.
Yeah.
And just completely...
And James was great in that game. 29 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists.
Rose was throwing up shots out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It felt like he was the lone man. Kind of like an Allen Iverson with the Sixers. Obviously, he's way more talented. But, I mean, I just don't see them winning the series. I mean, especially taking one... Chicago, the fact is, though, if you go down 2-0 and you go home, it's like, okay, you know what, now we're down. We're down now. Yeah. But, I mean, it's like next day, hey, we're going to reboot. But when you take one on the road, especially game 2, probably the biggest game of that series was that game 2. And this will really test how the Bulls can win, on the road, at Miami, with the whole entire atmosphere, with James, Wade, Bosh, and everyone, especially Bosh stepping up with 30-plus points in the first game. I mean, I see it as a motivational booster right then and there that you will carry on when you come back to Miami.
One more comment before we move on. I think looking at these 2 series with the 2 sports, I think this was my favorite series on paper with the Bulls against the Heat. And the reason why is because they're both so good, but they're so good for different reasons. The Bulls with that one player and all that depth and that great coaching, and the Heat for all
so young too.
Yeah, and the Heat for all that momentum and those 2 players, 2.5 great all-star players. I think that was a great series on paper.
It's kind of like the veterans versus the youngsters.
Yeah, you know? and I think it's a very tough series to pick. So if the Heat win or Bulls win, I think that was the hardest series to pick. True. But I still like the Bulls in 6. I really like the Heat.
I still like the Heat. I feel like the Heat are like the Celtics of the 08.
Yeah, I think they're both. Yeah, I think they're both good picks. Though.
I think they're going to come through.
I'm going to say something that might shock Mitch a little bit.
Yeah,
taking the Bulls in 7.
Are you?
I was down on the Bulls all year.
Heat are going to do the job at home, even if they lose 1 at home. I mean, which you obviously don't at this point. You have the momentum swing. You definitely need to win 2 at home. I mean, losing 1 at home, you definitely don't want to lose both, because then I'd say they're screwed going back to Chicago.
And one thing, in the regular season, when I saw the Chicago come out in the first month, and with all those big players like Boston, Orlando's, and Miami, and to see them come in 3rd without Carlos Boozer, I think looking at that, I think that made me think that this is the best team in the East. And Thibodeau was a great coach in that whole entire regular season. I really love the Bulls from the first month on, so that's why. But we gotta move on.
All right, so do you want to do the viewer email since it kind of goes with this, or?
No, we'll do
all right. See if we have time.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going back to baseball. The Sox signed Kevin Millward to a minor league deal, and they traded for Franklin Morales.
Yeah.
Were these good moves?
I love the Franklin Morales deal. I think Hideki Okajima wasn't doing the job. Morales is a flame-throwing lefty who gets lefties out, and that's what the Red Sox need. This guy was the closer for the 2007 Rockies, who they faced, and the Red Sox faced in the World Series. So I think just that experience right there is huge. And I think getting Morales with all that experience, I think that's huge for the Red Sox bullpen, and that's what they need. Shanks and Wheeler are both in the DL. Rich Hill's doing real good as a lefty, too. Now they have Rich Hill. Moving Aceves into the starting rotation, they needed some more power there. I think with Morales, I think that's a great 1-2 combination for lefties. The Millwood signing, I don't like as much. I know they needed something with Lackey and Daisuke. I mean, they're both trash right now as it is. But for them both to go in the DL, you have to make one move. And I like what Theo did. Kevin Millwood was the guy out there.
And it's a low risk move too.
I mean, if he sucks, just dump him like the Yankees did. But there was nothing out there for trade. Maybe they should look for trades closer to the July 31st trade deadline. But right now, I think Kevin Millwood, I think that was a solid signing for right now. But I really like the Morales.
I agree with Morales. I mean, it's good to have a lefty, like another lefty on that
fireball
in that rotation. Yeah, throw real fast, and he's real talented. That's the good move. The thing I don't get, I mean, I understand maybe you want like a veteran on the team, like just to have around the club. But I mean, what's he? I mean, he's always been he's an okay pitcher.
Who, Okajima?
No, Millwood.
Morales? Oh, Millwood,
He's an okay pitcher, but I mean, just even showing that they signed him to a minor league contract. I mean, maybe to obviously build him up, but it just shows, like, obviously he is that dump player.
I think he got a lot of hype being that fourth guy after Maddox, Glavin, and
yeah. I always thought he was a very, like, solid pitcher that you could have in the rotation. But he's just a little too old now.
Yeah,
he's lost a lot of his thunder, and he's just...
And this is a big point. The Yankees cut him, and they already signed Bartolo Colon and Freddie Garcia. Oh. And for them to stick with Colon and Garcia and to cut Millwood, I think that says a lot for the Yankees and for the Red Sox and what Millwood is right now. But who knows? Maybe they find something with him.
All right. Staying with baseball here, the Indians lose Travis Hafner for 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Now they're 25-15.
Yeah.
How does this affect
That's huge. Hafner has been absolutely a beast, and Kronk is back from his 07 self. He's putting up power numbers, and I thought he was officially done. I think he's up there at 34, 35 now at his age, and for him to come back and be what he's done, I think that's huge for the Indians. But this is huge. Going down 3 to 4 weeks, that's sad. But guys like Michael Brantley have been stepping up all season long, and Asdrubal Cabrera have been stepping up. And I think the guy who needs to really step up is Shin-Soo Choo. He hasn't done a lot. But the Indians have done a lot to keep him on their shoulders. Choo needs to step up, avoid DUIs, step up and start hitting the ball in the ballpark. And also Matt Laporta. I think Matt Laporta has a lot of potential. He's your first baseman, and I think he needs to actually step up for Hafner. And if one of those two guys can step up, I think the Indians can coast. But Indians are really surprising that they're 26-15 or whatever they are, leading with Central. I still like the Tigers to take the division, but it's serious.
I mean, Hafner, losing him, like, the powerhouse. He is like, literally been a machine for them this year. Yeah. It's just that, I think it's been the pitching, though. I mean, the thing is, if you lose a good hitter, okay, I mean, you can recoup with pitching, but if you lose, like, pitching, I mean, you can't really make up for that with a good hitter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of like they still got it. I mean, they're at the top. So, I mean, it's okay. Maybe you drop down a little bit, but, I mean, you're still in there maybe when he comes back. So, I mean, it's all about the pitching for me, and I think it's really big. He's the powerhouse, and you need to hit and do work so you can stay up at that top, but it's all about the pitching.
And I think at the time, when the Indians traded V-Mart, I thought they got a huge loss there. But Carlos Santana is stepping up to be their catcher of the future, and Justin Masterson, who they got in that deal, looks like the ace for their future, and he's a terrific pitcher right now. So.
All right, moving on very quickly. Holly from Boston asked, who are the favorites for the NBA Finals?
I think the favorites for the Finals are Heat and Dallas.
Exactly.
But I am taking Thunder and Bulls, who I took from the start of the season.
I'm going to agree with you.
I like that.
I'm taking the Heat and Mavs.
I don't think there's any more to elaborate there.
Oh, really?
All right. Well, that was the pitch. Thank you for watching.
Go get it.